Hello, fellow thinkers. Long time no see.
Yes, I can't imagine the last time I saw the two of you together.
That's so funny. Anyways, just the other day I was sitting alone wondering about this hypothetical that has to do with the RTSD student handbook, and I thought to myself, I should talk to Kant and Socrates about this.
Well, here we are, Bentham. So what is it?
See, it has to do with the anti-hazing policy the school has put in place. Keep that in mind. Let's say a freshman agrees to experience social isolation by being locked into a janitor's closet for a school day by an upperclassman. Then the freshman in the closet is suspended for skipping the day's classes. However, the upperclassman who locked the freshman in the closet is only given a B detention. Now, should this be considered hazing by the school?
Let's see. The school seems to think it is, as it says here in the handbook. Let me pull it up.
It says hazing is defined as any action or situation that recklessly or intentionally endangers the mental or physical health or safety of a person. Endangers the mental health shall include, but not be limited to, any activity that would subject an individual to extreme mental stress, such as prolonged sleep deprivation and forced exclusion from social contact. In this situation, the freshman is being socially isolated, which is the same thing as exclusion from social contact. So the school considers this hazing.
But do they still consider it hazing if the student gave their consent?
I can't seem to find an answer to that.
Well, here it says that any hazing activity, whether by an individual or a group, shall be presumed to be a forced activity, even if a student willingly participates. This means that even though the student consented in this situation, and the hazing wasn't a forced activity, it is still a hazing activity, so the school still considers it hazing.
But should it really be considered hazing?
If this was an independent situation that occurred outside of the school, it would not be considered hazing, as the student consented and therefore imposed it upon themselves. They utilized their own sense of justice. But since this occurred during school hours, it should be considered hazing, because by walking onto the school campus and enjoying its benefits, the students have implicitly agreed to the rules and contract in said school's handbook. So, they have recognized and acknowledged that these rules deem the act a form of hazing.
It does not matter if the action should be considered hazing. All that matters is the outcome of the action. Besides, the handbook considers it hazing. Now, let's do something actually productive and examine the outcome of this action. The person who benefits from the freshman being locked into the closet is the freshman himself. His teachers, friends, and administrators are negatively affected by the action. In conclusion, locking the freshman in the closet does not maximize happiness, and it is not morally just.
Actually, Bentham, it does not matter the outcome, but it does matter whether the act is morally justifiable. In this case, the freshman was agreeing because he wanted to be socially isolated. So, he was using himself as a means to achieve that satisfactory feeling of being alone. Of course, this varies depending on the situation. If the freshman had been intimidated into getting locked into the closet, he would have been acting heteronomously, and this act should have been considered hazing. But if he acted freely and autonomously, and his decision was not based on the school's natural hierarchy, then this should not have been considered hazing.
Now that we have established our opinions on the act itself, let's move on to discuss the punishments given to the students. Ultimately, the individual must submit to the higher authority, in this case being the school. So, the students must follow the punishments as they were given by the school's authorities.
Hold on 1 second there, Socrates, my man. Let's look at another section in the handbook, the detention section. Under the rules for detention, it says, there is no talking, sleeping, eating, or use of electronic devices or communicating with other students permitted. So, students in detention are essentially being socially isolated. Hence, the school is hazing the upperclassmen for hazing another student.
It's a hypocritical hypothetical.
Never mind that. What does that matter? Despite the things you brought up, Kant, the majority is still happiest. The administrators and teachers are happy because their students will no longer be hazed, and the students themselves are happy because less of them will be hazed in the future. On the other hand, the upperclassman is sad about being socially isolated, and so are his few friends who are disappointed that they don't get to talk to him. In conclusion, the punishment is morally just because giving that detention makes the most people happy. That's all that matters.
But everyone has rights. Everyone deserves dignity. The punishment is immoral because the school is using the student as a means to set an example of wrongdoers. However, if the school's motive was to fulfill their duty to help the student succeed in life by disciplining him, then this punishment would be morally just. However, is it fair that the freshman is given the heavier punishment? Why does the freshman deserve a suspension while the upperclassman is let off with only a detention?
Must you contemplate the little details every time?
Yes, I just can't help myself.
Focus, children. We are in the middle of a very important, thoughtful, common, everyday chat. Okay, so it was the individual's decision to be locked in the closet, and he knew the consequences, yet still involved himself. The upperclassman did not force the freshman into the closet or directly harass him. The freshman agreed to being locked into the closet. He committed 2 offenses. He hazed himself and missed all of the day's classes. In addition, the freshman must accept the school's decision, regardless of whether it was just or unjust, because he agreed to the rules of the school by stepping on campus and enjoying the school's services.
Oh my! How time flies when we are having fun! I have a highly formal dance party to attend in less than an hour. I must go.
Having fun philosophizing? What nerds!
Well, that was quite a heated discussion. It looks as if the time has come for us to part ways. Hasta la vista!